So guys, listen to this true life story. After listening to this story, I would like you to tell me your opinion. That is, tell me if my action was right or wrong. Many years ago, when I was living in Africa, I had a friend, a boyfriend, who was serving his master. The guy was an apprentice. He was learning how to trade, how to do business. Because this guy was serving his master, he lived with his master. So he had no apartment of his own. But then, I had a room where I lived then. But this guy who was an apprentice, this friend of mine who was an apprentice, who was serving his master, had a girlfriend. A very beautiful girlfriend. So, whenever they planned to meet and do their thing, the guy would beg me to allow them stay in my room. So I always agreed, I always allowed them to stay in my room and do their thing. This thing happened for many years because we were friends for years. So now, I also have another close friend, very close friend, a boy. Not a boy, a man. We were in the same line of business together. I was closer to this guy who was in the same line of business with me than the one that had a girlfriend. So these two guys were my friends, but one was more closer to me than the other. That is, the one that was in the same line of business with me was more closer than the one that had a girlfriend that was still serving his master. So now, most of the time, I spent time with my guy, the one that was in the same line of business with me. Sometimes I slept in his house, we ate together, partied together. In fact, I rarely stayed in my own room or where I lived. So, this my friend who had his own room, this my friend who was in the same line of business with me, was living with one man, or he lived with one man who came from the village. This guy that came from the village secured a job, gained an employment in one oil company back then, in the state where we lived. This guy, he just graduated, secured a job in one oil company back then. He had no place to stay. Because this my friend, who was in the same line of business with me, was from the same town with this guy who just graduated and secured a job. So the guy allowed him to be living in his apartment. But then, this guy that gained an appointment, this guy that secured a job in one oil company, was so arrogant and full of himself. The guy just graduated and came to live with my friend, the friend that was in the same line of business with me. This guy was full of himself. Full of himself. In fact, he hardly greeted. He felt he was bigger than everybody. I don't get along well with the guy, but he was living with my friend. So, We never even gisted, because each time I go to that my friend, he was there. The day he had no work, he would be there. We don't get along. These guys that, the kind of fellow that felt he was, doing more better than every other person. So, one Sunday afternoon, around 4 p.m., I decided to go visit this my friend, who was in the same line of business with me, who was living with somebody from his village, this guy that gained an employment in the state where we lived. It was a bright Sunday afternoon. So when I went there, the door was locked, closed. I knocked at the door. It was closed. Well, because it was Sunday, I had no place to go. And then there wasn't anything like social media or mobile telephone. So I hung outside. I took a seat and I sat outside. After about an hour and a half, the door opened. Guess what? Two ladies came out of the apartment. Two ladies came out of the apartment, but they did not see me. Two ladies came out of that my friend's apartment, and one of the lady was the girlfriend to this my friend who was an apprentice, who was serving his master, who usually asked me or begged me to allow him stay with his girlfriend in my own room. And this girl knows me because they spent time in my room. The thing was, yes, let me put it this way. When they came out, they did not look my direction. They did not look at my direction. They just went away. They started going. And this my friend who was in the same line of business with me, and this is village man who came from the village, who newly graduated, who gained employment in an oil company, escorted these two girls. I saw them, but they did not see me. Now, after escorting these two girls, I was still waiting for them to return. After escorting these two girls, they now came back. When they came back, this my friend, he may see this video because he is my follower. He watches my video. Now, after they were done escorting these girls, this my friend came back, said, Buchai, said, boy, now look at what's happened. I said, what happened? He said they just banged these girls. I asked him, which one of them did you bang? He now told me the one he banged. That my friend, girlfriend, that my friend's girlfriend came with another friend, another of her girlfriend. So this friend who was in the same line of business with me banged the girlfriend of this, that is, did not bang that my friend's girlfriend. Hope you are getting the story now. It was that guy that worked in an oil company that banged the guy that usually asked me to allow him. That guy who works in an oil company banged the girlfriend of that my friend who usually asked me to allow them stay in my room. The guy that was arrogant banged my friend's girlfriend. So when they came back, men, we were younger. They were laughing. they discussed how they banged the girls. Now listen to this story. Because that guy who gained employment in an oil company was very arrogant and he considered himself more important than everybody. I wasn't getting along with him very well. We never flowed very well. So after hearing this story, how they banged these girls, on the next day or the following week, this my friend who was an apprentice to his master came to me. Then I disclosed to him what happened. I said, look at so day, this past Sunday, I saw your girlfriend in my boyfriend's house. He knew the name of my boyfriend. I said, you ask your girlfriend where he went on Sunday with her girlfriend. So the guy said, when I narrated what happened, because I was there, I witnessed it. I saw them come out of the room. After they escorted those girls, they came and began to laugh and discuss how everything happened. I was there. Now, that guy who was full of himself, that guy who worked in a company, in an oil company, did not know that I knew the girl he banged. So now, I then explained to that my friend who was an apprentice. I said, listen, your girl was messed up last Sunday. And look at what happened. The guy was shaking. He said, I wasn't serious. I said, listen, that your girlfriend, he said the girl cannot do something like that because he supported the girl. He was there for the girl. That is, whatever the girl wanted, he did for her. The guy could not believe it. He was shivering. He was shaking. After he asked the girl denied. The boyfriend mounted pressure. The girl admitted she did it. So the news spread. That guy who worked in an oil company, who was arrogant and full of himself, knew I was the person that disclosed it, but he couldn't do anything to me. Yes, many people held me. They said, guy, you did well. Because if they were in my shoes, they would do the same thing. That if I should see my best friend's girlfriend with another man, sleeping with another man, I was supposed to report it. Tell my friend, look at what his girlfriend does. That if I fail to disclose it to my friend, that means I am a betrayer. That means they may consider me somebody who wasn't real. So now, at the end, they were having serious issues before I left Africa. They were having serious issues before I left Africa. Now, my question to you is, do you think my action was right or wrong? I want to know your opinion. But, well, if I should fast forward today, I wouldn't involve myself in it. That is, if it were to be today, I wouldn't reveal it to anybody, to be honest. If it were to be today, I would just mind my business. So guys, let me know your opinion. You already know my name. My name is Rody. Follow my page for more interesting stories. See you in my next video.